All right, everyone, welcome to the Horror Experience. This is our team on the Creepy Channel Crawl. I'm better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, or Grandpa Horror, if you want to do it right. In this hour, we have a special topic. It is old school horror versus modern horror, and I got three good guests on my channel right now. First, I will introduce the ladies because I am a gentleman. Coming her first time, and I actually believe this is her first live stream, right, Jenna?
It is. It is very first one, so.
Yeah, her first live stream introducing from the horror. Jenna, say hi to everybody.
Hey, guys. Your hostess with the mostest here.
Jenna does horror reviews. She does unboxing videos. She also, what else do you do, Jenna, besides those two?
Basically, that's it. In Catherine's world that I haven't done in a while.
And also, we have Jenn and Kristen from Jenn's Reviews from the Grave.
A good day.
Hi, everybody.
And of course, you saw him in Brian's The Horror Host Hour. Once again, Mr. Meathook is back once again. 2 hours in a row.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I'm kidding. I'm fine. What's up, guys?
All right. Now, as I'm pretty sure a lot of people know, I come from old school horror because I grew up watching horror. That's how I eventually started horror. That's how I got into horror. My first horror movie was watching Universal Monsters' The Mummy, the 1932 version. And I already asked when we did a test stream with Daryl and Jenn and Christian what their first horror movie, the oldest horror movie that they saw. So I'll leave this you question, Jenn. What is the oldest horror movie that you've seen? Have you ever seen?
Oh, probably the same. The Universal monster movies, Frankenstein, Dracula, all those are probably the oldest ones I've seen.
So yeah, and I'll also ask this in the chat as well because we got a lot of people streaming in the chat. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. Just put down what's the oldest horror movie you've seen in your lifetime, the oldest horror movie in your stream. And I also have a series of questions. One question I'll ask you guys. Should a fan of horror watch the classic horror movies?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great place to start.
It's great. Yeah, like Christian said, a great place to start.
Yep.
I don't think it's a requirement, but I think if you want to, go in full hog, you do need to eventually see some of the great ones because you'll learn a lot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think one of the reasons why you probably should watch some of the old horror pictures because you understand where some of the modern, directors of today's horror films, or even in the 80s and 90s, got their motivations from because they set the stage for atmosphere and tension, and also writing too. I believe they get most of their influences from the old school horror films.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking right here in the chat. Let's see. You guys see the chat?
Yeah.
I actually do not have the chat up, so I am going in this completely blind with you guys.
Let's see. Somebody said Friday the 13th was their first horror movie. That's Sean. I see Sean's in the chat. You got Desomnified, Dave, Vicky. Vicky's been up since this morning, so we gotta give Vicky credit. Vicky and Dave have been up since the first time this morning. I think Mr. Meathook, Dave, and Vicky have been the ones that have been through the stream all since this morning.
Yeah.
I see Michael Long's in here. Everyone, yeah, we got a lot of people that have been here this morning. One of the interesting things I think you guys would probably like about. Now, we all consider that Jason, Michael, and Freddy are what we call the holy trinity of horror. But how would you like to compare them to Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, and Christopher Lee?
Ooh.
God, how can you even compare them?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was
But
thinking.
Both great, except they're all great, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Yes, very great.
Yeah, because one of the things I think with comparing what a lot of people might consider the original holy trinity of horror is that they all left their mark. I think one of the great things that they've done in their place in horror is all the characters that they play. You know, they've done several different movies with different characters, even though they, especially with Vincent Price, even though Christopher Lee is probably more recognized as Dracula, but he's done more than just Dracula. You know, and Peter Cushing, he's like more like done more than Van Helsing, but he's also been in other movies right there, where we saw like Freddy, Jason, and Michael. They all just been slashers, but they're so popular. But that's why that's one of the differences I think between the two. But I should say between the two trilogy guys. I'll get it. Let's see.
But they're also very iconic.
Jenn. Oh, Jenn froze up again.
Sorry.
God damn it, Jenn. Get your shit straight. God damn, this is my first stream and I'm not fucking up yet.
I meant to Jenn to be the one to do it. Am I still frozen?
Wait a minute. Give me a second here.
Okay.
All right, good. We're back.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay. Not a problem. All right, let's see. What do we have here? Oh, I got a good one right here. Roger Corman films.
Oh.
Classic.
Oh,
Roger
man.
Corman.
We're talking about ones he directed or ones he produced?
Both.
Both.
Ooh.
Well, you have a lot to say about Roger Corman.
Corman was great. He took a lot of the things that William Castle did and just kind of expanded them and made a whole company and his whole career based off of it. He did a lot of great stuff. He kind of made the first mockbusters.
Yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm.
William Castle.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. I also like the fact that he actually let everyone know about Edgar Allan Poe and all his writing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he did do the Price Poe movies.
He did, and they're great.
Oh, Mask of the Red Phantasm.
Yeah.
Oh, or Mask of the Red Death.
Yeah.
Mask of the Red Death is great.
Yeah, because I like what he did with the Raven as well. Let's see. All right, here's an interesting one. Actually, Jennifer came up with this one. Rob Zombie.
Sorry, Jenna.
versus
Sorry,
Rob Zombie versus Wes Craven, John Carpenter, and Tobe Hooper. Now I already know what Jenna feels about.
Oh God.
He couldn't
First
couldn't
off,
wipe their ass.
thank you. Okay, first off, let me just state I get that Rob Zombie has a fan base, very loyal fan base. I respect that. But all of his damn movies are the same. A bunch of redneck hillbillies being crazy, going around killing people with his freaking wife in the movie. Like, that's all of them. You seen one, you seen them all.
That's the only problem I have with him. And I get that you want to have your wife have some type of career, but you should try to do something different instead of having your wife appear in all your movies.
There's a reason why she's not a star. Sorry, sis. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not, Matt. This is what I wanted to talk about because I think everybody has an opinion on Rob Zombie, and this is where everyone is going to hate Jenn. I actually think Sherry Moon Zombie, she's gotten better. I think she's not a great actress, but I think she's gotten better. I think she does have some talent. Yes, she's very beautiful, and that probably opened doors for her. But I think she's gotten better. One of my biggest things, what I always say for people who detract her acting skills, is I know everyone hates Rob Zombie's Halloween except for Jenn, but I think scenes with her in Halloween when she is being tender, when they have those tender moments, I was actually really blown away. And Sparky will.
Yeah, I will actually agree with you on that. Like, I have a lot of issues with Rob Zombie's Halloween, but the moments with, like, especially when Michael gets put in the institution and she's just sitting there trying to still have a connection with her son, those actually do work really well.
They do. Now, they've got issues. I'm not saying they don't,
Oh,
but I feel bad for her, so I'm going to stand up. She's not terrible, guys.
Oh no, I never said that she was a terrible actress. I mean, she looks pretty, so that's good, but she's not a bad actress. But my only thing is that why do you always keep casting her in your movies? That's nepotism going haywire.
Because he keeps casting his wife in his movie because he likes to have sex.
Zombie, Daryl, what do you think? Do you think she's horrible, or?
I think she's fucking atrocious.
Okay.
I think she's okay as Baby, and then every other character is just basically a cheap ripoff of Baby.
I can see that. I don't necessarily.
I can agree with that. Because, no, I've never seen the Lords of Salem, so I can't say that. So I really can't. Never seen it, but a lot of people said that it was kind of boring. It really didn't make that much sense. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, but they felt as though her character was, I think the whole movie was boring. But I never saw it, so I can't answer that. But yeah, it seems like the only character she does well is the Baby character.
I get that. Is there anyone in the is there anyone, what's your favorite, does anyone have a favorite Rob Zombie or film for everybody in the chat, or not chat, but in the thing? What's everyone's favorite Rob Zombie? Sis, do you have one?
Anything that he is not involved in, basically.
Okay, fair, very fair.
I'll take Son of Sleepaway Camp over any of his movies. Just saying it, although I think that's a heaping pile of shit.
That was a word.
I love this.
I agree with, like Phil said, the Devil's Rejects. And the Devil's Rejects is my favorite Rob Zombie horror film. That's the best thing I think he's done.
I like House of a Thousand Corpses a lot.
I love 31 personally.
31's good.
31 was okay. The only thing I liked about 31 was Deadhead. That was it. He was the best character in the movie. I felt as though, and that's one of the things, I felt as though her character in 31 was kind of almost a ripoff of Baby.
You would agree, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You guys keep saying Baby. I keep thinking of Dirty Dancing.
I did too.
I'm gonna put her in the fucking corner and keep her out of movies. Yeah. Please.
Put her in the corner and fucking lock her there.
I second that. Let's do it.
What about you, Daryl? Do you have a movie you don't totally hate of his?
I don't hate House of a Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
But I honestly, I think the best thing he did isn't even a full movie. It's the fake trailer for Werewolf in One of the SS.
I know, yeah. Amanda from Channel Sundown said that.
Yeah, it is good.
Did you guys ever see Super Beasto?
Oh, that's
yeah.
Super Beasto.
There's time when I get back.
I never saw that. I never saw that neither.
It's my favorite one of his.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Movie 2 more.
Really?
Yeah.
It from what I saw, some of the scenes, it kind of reminds me of the animated. I think the last episode of Tales from the Crypt was an animated version of the Three Little Pigs. That's what Super Beasto reminded me of that.
Yeah,
it does have that feeling.
Yeah. See, I told you it was going to be a good topic.
I thought everyone's opinion on Zombie.
Yeah, because everybody has a very good opinion about Rob Zombie. Let's see. Darkling Dark to say she couldn't get that far into Devil's Rejects. She fell asleep in the first 10 minutes.
Oh,
Whoa. Wow.
Wow.
Let's see. Somebody said they prefer Adam Green to Rob Zombie.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I love Adam Green, honestly.
No, I don't mind the first three Hatchet films. But unfortunately, when he got to Victor Crowley, it seemed like he was doing rinse, repeat, and do the same thing all over again. Yeah, he got some nice, decent kills, but it seemed like, okay, Victor Crowley comes back, he does his crap, he gets killed, and he comes back again. So it was me, Victor Crowley, the last one. It was just like, don't get me wrong, I like some of the humor. I like, you had Felicia Rose back in it, you had Tony Todd back in it. And I love that. I love that aspect of it. But it seemed like to me it was the same thing all over again, especially after the third one. After the third one, then Victor Crowley came out. To me, he was kind of repeating some of the stuff he's already done in the first two pictures. He wasn't trying to do anything different.
I agree with that, but for me, I feel like the third Hatchet movie was the weakest for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just, I don't know, I just feel like it just kind of missed the mark in a lot of ways, and it just brought the series down for me. Like, I still enjoy it, I still like it, but to me, it's the weakest.
It's where it went down a little bit.
That's the one that Adam Green didn't direct.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, it really true.
Okay, moving right along, let's go with remakes. Now, one of the things that they've been done is they've been remaking old school horror movies into new movies. And the first one I'm going to cover is obviously, now I don't know, have you all seen the original Blob?
Yes.
Yes, it's been a while for me.
Okay. All right. Now, we got the original Blob that came out in 1958. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Steve McQueen's first debut movie was that particular version. And, of course, then we have the remake that came out in 1988. So I actually like both versions of the Blob. You know, obviously you got better practical effects in the 1988 version, but just trying to compare those two movies as coming from the old school and the modern horror version. You know, what you like, didn't like out of either one of those movies.
I should let Christian handle this one because
Personally, I think the 80s Blob is vastly superior to the original. The 80s Blob is one of my favorite horror movies ever. I think it goes right up there with John Carpenter's The Thing. Is one of the greatest body horror movies of the 80s and one of the best remakes of a horror movie ever. I absolutely adore the 80s Blob.
I back that up.
Yep.
Yeah, I back that up too. Yeah, because you do get some great practical effects. Not that the original one was bad, you know, but of course, you know, you're limited at that time. But you know, you do have to give that particular Blob version accent because you get some excellent kills and great practical effects. They didn't hold back, and they actually still hold up to this day too.
it does.
Absolutely.
Childhood.
Yeah, that and you have a child literally melting to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact they even showed that kid get killed in that particular one, that lets you know that they really weren't holding back in that particular film. And I think that's one of the problems that we have with modern film. They're afraid to push the envelope sometimes. But that's probably something else that we'll talk about later as far as, you know, what's wrong with modern horror today. Some people in the chat said they haven't seen either version of the Blob, and I think you definitely should try to see both of the those versions. Sean said that the original Blob was more of a B movie, and I do agree. They had a lot of B movies back in the day. The next remake will be, I'm pretty sure a lot of people seen the original Fly with Vincent Price, and of course the remake that's David Cronenberg with Jeff Goldblum.
This is your area.
This I love the Cronenberg one. I saw the Cronenberg one first. But it's the one that just that's probably one of the movies that just grosses me out to just ew, but I love it. So I would say that Cronenberg was the superior one, but I really love, but then for the original, I love Vincent Price. So it's kind of a hard one for me, but I'm going to go with Cronenberg. So.
What about you, Jen?
I'm the same way. It's I have to go with the remake of The Fly, but I'm like Jen. It almost borders that fine line of it's almost too disgusting, but it's just disgusting enough where I can tolerate it. So, yeah, like I'm definitely more of the remake of The Fly than anything else.
Mm-hmm. What about you? What about you, Mr. Meathook?
You know, I saw the original Fly probably 30 or 35 years ago, and I own the remake on Blu-ray and I've never watched it.
Ooh.
I don't even have a reason why I haven't watched it. I just haven't.
Slacker.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm too busy watching movies with a $20,000 budget.
Oh.
Make a good point.
Here's my opinion of that. Now, as much as I love the remake of The Fly, I love Jeff Goldblum. I thought he was great in that, and obviously, he had great, excellent practical effects in that particular film, especially at the end when you get that grossed out scene, and it is incredibly disgusting. But when I first saw the original Fly, I was probably maybe 10 years old when I first saw it. I'll never, ever forget that ending scene. Help me! Help me! Help me! Forget it. It just still burns into my head today. I can't. Nothing tops that. I mean, as much as I love the remake, that scene, that final scene. I mean, that's the reason why I really love the original Fly.
I think you make a good point, Monty, because that everyone's perspective is with modern versus new horror is where you how old you were when you saw it. Like like you said, it burns it in your mind, and I think that's the thing with nostalgia is you have to it's what you see first. And I saw the Cronenberg first, but I think that one would still burn in my mind. But I think it's all about where you are at in your life too with horror, and what burns it in your mind. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably the reason why, because I saw that at such a young age, and I saw that first before, then a remake came out, and I said, wow, this is actually pretty good. But, I said, I still can't forget that original Fly, because I remember when I first saw it, I'm sitting there watching the TV, and my mother was looking at me, and I have a very morbid sense of humor, and I'm basically dying laughing. And my mother says, Monty, what the hell is so funny? I said, you see, I cried. She said, that's not funny. I said, yes, it is. I can't help it. It's just funny. I mean, that's what horror movies were to me back in the day. I just laughed at it,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Now, people in the chat, obviously, they said that I had to talk about this, which I was going to talk about anyway. Of course, that comes with the remake of The Thing versus The Thing from Another World. Now, some people still do not know, and I'm quite surprised that The Thing is actually a remake because they never heard of or never saw the original Thing from Another World.
I've never seen the original, but I have a side story about the remake of The Thing. Fun fact, within the last couple of days, someone at work and I were talking about John Carpenter's The Thing, and they kept referencing it as the original, and I had to explain for 20 minutes that it was a remake, and they were arguing with me. And everyone at my work calls me the horror guru. They were arguing with me. Yes, the struggle.
They should have talked.
I shit you not.
I believe it. Trust me. I've actually gotten to some deep conversation with some of my boys who did not know that The Thing was a remake. Because, they tell me, no, it's the original film. I said, no, it's a remake. I said, you ever heard of a movie called The Thing from Another World? Never heard of it. Didn't believe me. I had to actually know. Of course, back then, didn't have the internet back then, so I really had to dig out newspapers and actually show them. When finally I got a chance to get a VHS tape and show them the movie. I say, see, this is it. It's called The Thing from Another World. This is where it comes from. I said, yeah. So what do you think, Daryl?
Okay, everyone's gonna fucking hate me. The Thing bores the fuck out of me. Great practical effects, don't get me wrong, but it's so fucking boring.
I can see that, and honestly, I sometimes when I put it on, I am a little bored with it if I'm not in the mood. So I completely understand where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
I get that because because other than the horrific scenes that you see throughout the movie, nothing else kind of takes place other than trying to figure out, okay, who else is the thing, and it kind of slows the pace down a bit. That's the only problem I have with that, is that there's no umph in the movie other than the slow pace that it has sometimes.
Yeah.
For me, the thing is, I like it. I'm kind of middle of the road. I don't love it like my son. My son loves it, but I like it. I can agree with Jenna and Daryl. If you're not in the right mood, it can be a little tedious at times.
I can understand that, even though you're wrong. The thing is one of the horror movies that absolutely changed my perspective on horror and made me fall in love with this genre. As soon as the scene where the dog's head splits open, I immediately go back to me being 7 years old and seeing that on Showtime at like midnight and freaking out. The John Carpenter's The Thing is a movie that I hold very near and dear to my heart. I absolutely adore it. One of my favorites. The original is very good. The problem with the original thing is it falls under a lot of the tropes of the movies of the time, a lot of 50s sci-fi. It's very slow. It doesn't really give you much in the way of a very, very interesting story. And it does detour very much from the book, I feel.
Yeah, it does. It does, yes. That's another thing a lot of people don't know, is that the original one was based upon a novel.
Yes, the John Carpenter one's actually much closer to Who Goes There.
Obviously, now we get to go to another one of my favorite old school horror pictures, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original one. And of course, we have all the others that have come out since then. We've had the one that came out in '78 that starred Donald Sutherland, if I got my year right. Then we have the Body Snatchers that had Meg Tilly in it, and then we had The Invasion with Nicole Kidman in that one as well. And then there's another movie that just came out this year called Assimilate, which is similar to the Body Snatchers. Now, out of all those, why do you think they keep remaking this particular old school horror picture?
Simple story, simple, relatable story. How do you know if your coworker, your neighbor is actually who they actually are from the night before? Wake Up could be totally different.
Not to cut you off, Jenna. Oh, yeah. Corey just reminded me. The Faculty is also a similar premise of the Body Snatchers.
Yes, it is.
It is.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like when I saw the first original Body Snatchers that came out, I said, wow, this is actually a fascinating horror picture. But now I'm pretty sure if anyone saw it today, they'd probably consider it boring because there's no real practical effects. You do see some of the pods coming in at the end of the picture. Now, unlike with the '78 version that starred Donald Sutherland, then you do get to see some good practical effects in there. Now, out of all of the Body Snatcher movies, which one is your favorite one?
Donald Sutherland for me.
Same. I adore the '70s one. I have at one time owned 6 separate copies of that movie on DVD. Yeah, I didn't, and I didn't fix it until I got the Blu-ray at the dollar a while back.
If anyone out there needs a copy, he can send you.
Yeah, I got 6 just pretty much wrong.
I actually had that one on VHS when I used to collect VHS tapes all the time before. Unfortunately, my mother passed away and I had to get rid of all the tapes, and then I lost them all. But I did have it on VHS. What about you, Daryl?
Oh, 78.
78. No one saw the Body Snatchers?
I did. I was just about to say, for me, it's a toss-up. I definitely love the '78 version, but as cheesy as it kind of is, the Body Snatcher one with Meg Tilly, there's something about it I like. So I don't know. It just does something a little bit different with it, with the story, and I don't know. I'm sticking to it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like what Gory said, is that it plays on fears of losing our identity and not knowing those around us are. And then I think that's one of the reasons. That's the reason why people love to continue to make movies based upon this one. Because it plays on our fears of losing our identity. Now, obviously, no one mentioned the invasion of Nicole Kidman.
I refuse to watch that piece of crap. And I know it's a piece of crap. I don't even have to watch it.
It's
I'm not
fucking
wasting my
terrible.
time.
It's terrible.
We got somebody with the Zombified team. They love the one with Nicole Kidman. It was okay. I actually thought it was a different twist on it because it didn't use pods. It was just a virus that they spat at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting idea.
Yeah, it was. Each their own.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give them credit. They tried to do it. Now, of course, to me, I mean, it just wasn't as good as the Body Snatchers or the 78 one. And not even the actual original one. Yeah, it was just a spit virus. That's the only difference. So it was okay, but it was nothing home to write all about.
No.
Not at all.
But I think you're right, Mark. I think that's what people, because you wake up to your husband, partner, children, friend, whatever, and they can be a totally different person than they were 24 hours ago. So I think that's very relatable. And I think that's why people keep wanting to make this story, because we all, no matter where we're at in our lives, we can all relate to this.
Yeah.
So.
Who just joined in whatchamacallit here? I can't tell. So there's no, Daryl jumped off for a bit. Almost. I guess something happened to him. Okay, let's see. Let me take a look at my list here. Okay, all right. One of the questions I was going to ask you guys, because as one of the problems that I was going to ask you, what do you think why modern horror is having so many problems as of late, coming up with some good horror movies, as opposed to what we've seen in the old school horror days? Because while we do have some good horror pictures, like Get Out and Insidious and all those sort of, we always wind up with Wish Upon or the Bye-Bye Man or the Apparition. Why do you think that modern horror has a problem jumping out some good horror movies?
Well, I don't know if it is this is just a now question, because I remember as a kid, people made the same argument about horror when I was growing up, and I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I heard people say the same thing. The bad son, the good son is the one that and I remember my dad telling me, Jen, this is just the bad seed with a boy, so I don't
I agree with your father. It is. It's just a bad seed with the son, but I still like that movie. That was still pretty good.
I thought it was really good, but I remember my dad going, they don't have any new ideas. And this was 20 years ago. So I don't think this is a new thing. I think people probably even in the Universal Monsters time, they were saying, I've seen this done. Oh, we've read the book, So I don't know if it's exactly a new thing.
Well, I feel like it's all depending on your nostalgia and what era of horror you grew up. Like somebody growing up watching horror movies now may feel like movies like Wish Upon or even Slender Man or stuff, the way that somebody who grew up in the 80s or 90s with you feel about something like Horror High.
Yeah.
A tint of nostalgia. You can acknowledge it's not the best movie, but you have a fondness for it because it's something you grew up with.
True. Very true.
Well, yeah, I can agree with that, because when I grew up and I saw all those B horror movies that I was watching as a kid, whether it was Tarantula, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, The Praying Mantis, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought those movies were bad, but I still enjoyed those particular movies. But now, when we look at today's horror movies, why we still come up with so many bad horror movies, But Zach says blame the internet. Yeah, I think the internet is to blame, because one of the problems that I have with today's social media is that anytime when there's something coming out, especially with Halloween, someone's got to tweet it, someone's got to post it on social media, and it's like, why are we so going crazy about one? No, I could get with the latest thing with Halloween. I could get that. Everyone wants to talk about it, but it's at least everything that comes out regarding Halloween, someone's got to make a post about it. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the problems that we have with today's society and social media. So, Daryl, I'm pretty sure you have an interesting idea about this. Why do you think, as far as modern horror is concerned, why do you think we come up with so many bad horror movies?
Oh man, why are there so many bad horror movies now? Because Hollywood's out of ideas.
Very
Everything that would appeal to a mainstream audience has been done. Even the stuff coming out now that everyone's like, oh, it's so original. It's not.
Yeah, Amanda from Channel Sunday has a good question. What do you think should be remade?
Do we have to remake everything? Seriously, I'm so over reboots and remakes. Like, we need them once in a while, but God, can we give it a break? I'm so over it.
More often than not, they don't work. There are some exceptions. There are some times where remakes do work, but more than often than not, they're just not very good.
I feel the problem with it mainly is most of them are cash grabs. Like most of them are just cashing in on an IP. Like look at Child's Play.
Yeah.
Like even that who had some original ideas, it couldn't. That movie's main problem was it couldn't get away from the original movie and couldn't completely make the movie all its own.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
See, I've actually thought about this before, and there's two movies that I love, but I think they haven't aged well, that I think would do well with a remake, and that's Popcorn and Wishmaster.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I believe those would be two good movies to remake. Even though they're still older on their own, because a lot of people probably still have not seen that movie. With that, but I believe that definitely Popcorn should be a good remake.
And I always like what Joe Biden said too, where take a bad movie that had some potential and remake that. Don't remake a classic that everyone has so much nostalgia for. Remake something that had some potential but maybe wasn't that great of a movie and try to make it better.
Yeah, remake something like Beguiled over Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jenna?
Oh God, I have to agree with Gerald on Wishmaster, especially in today's age where everyone wants something now, wants to be better than the next person, and they get what they deserve coming to them. We need to remake Wishmaster. That's definitely one of the few that I think we should be remaking right now.
Yeah, because I think because I saw I think Mark said that horror movies are cheap to make, and they are very cheap to make. I believe Crawl was only cost $15 million to make, and horror movies are cheap to make. I think that's one of the reasons why we keep seeing them being made, because they are cheap to make. But sometimes it still put the effort in them to become very good movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure everyone's going to love this one. Because will we ever see the Universal monsters get remade properly? I mean, yeah, we did have the great remake of The Mummy of 1999, but then obviously we had that disaster with the Dark Universe, and of course that Tom Cruise flop with The Mummy. But will we ever see a good remake of the Universal monsters?
Probably not.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think they're going to capture the feel of those original movies again. The main problem, because I was going when they announced the Dark Universe thing, like, why are you making them action movies? Like, at least make them horror adventure movies, like the 90s Mummy was. Like, that still had elements of horror, and it do something more like that than full-on Tom Cruise action movies. That makes no sense.
Don't say that movie again.
It was like I was pulling for the Mummy, but then I said it's Tom Cruise. I says, oh no, and then I saw the movie and I said, wait a minute, this is just Mission Impossible.
I know.
And that's what it basically was Mission Impossible trying to be a horror. Unfortunately, this seems to me the only thing Tom Cruise can do now is be Ethan Hunt, and that's it.
Wow. Bad. I'm different, but I think maybe they could do it if they gave it to people who know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to horror directors. Give it to someone, someone that would actually really care and be passionate. I think it's possible, but not likely.
Yeah, I think if they say like, okay, hey Adam Green, you want to direct a remake of The Wolfman, you have full creative control. I think then if they did something like that, maybe, but I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think because they can't. To most people, they can't throw up Adam Green's The Wolfman. To horror fans, that's amazing, but to most everyday people, it's nothing like that. Whereas you need a Tom Cruise or something to throw up on the marquee.
Because that works so well.
Oh yeah, it worked great.
I read a couple days ago that they're actually going to attempt to reboot the Dark Universe, but it's in Blumhouse's hands now.
Yeah, I read that too. Yeah, I read that too. That because I know Jason Blum, he really, I think that's his ultimate goal is to redo the Universal monsters again. If anyone can try to do that off, I think he's capable of doing it because he seems to know what he's doing when it comes to horror.
Yeah, that would be interesting, actually. Yeah.
What about you, Jenna?
I don't know. I love Blumhouse and everything, but lately I feel like they're just too much of a problem with pumping out movie after movie, and they keep getting watered down.
Yeah.
If I have to be honest. And so I would love to see them do it, but if they did, I'm not going to have the highest hopes on it, honestly.
I get that. Ma was very good. We had really high expectations with Ma. That was a Blumhouse thing, and it was it wasn't terrible, but it was a big letdown.
Very undercooked. It did kind of feel like it was rushed out a bit.
Great performance. But
Ma should have been called Meh.
Yeah.
Because
great performance, but that was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because Dracula Untold was supposed to be the first of the reboot of Universal Monsters, and I thought there was an attempt to try to do it, but again, I just didn't like the story. The story. They tried to make it like Dracula's origin and how he actually became a vampire. I kind of get the twist, but it just was executed wrong. Did you see Dracula Untold?
I've seen it. It's not very good.
I've not seen it, so
No.
Really not, no.
Yeah, you guys are not missing nothing. All right, now I think y'all gonna love this question. Should we ever, and I'm pretty sure you guys in the chat are gonna love this one, should we ever see a remake of The Exorcist or Jaws?
I don't think so. I don't think we need it.
No.
That's a hard no on me.
Absolutely
Hard
not.
no.
Absolutely not.
No.
I would rather
Yeah.
see no.
Like, why? Why? Jeez, you just want feisty Jenna to come out today. Damn.
Because my theory is this: right now we're not going to see it because no producer or movie studio doesn't want to get the backlash that they would get if they were ever announced they were doing a remake of either one of those two movies. But eventually, someone's going to say, when the time is right, we will go on ahead and attempt to make it, mainly because one thing is cash. I think one of the things that they probably even researched this is that if we ever do a remake of Jaws, who would go see it? If we ever do a remake of The Exorcist, who would go see it? Because they're thinking that it's been so many years since The Exorcist has come out, and they probably say, well, what can we do for The Exorcist for a modern audience to see it? And I'm pretty sure movie studios have probably talked about it. And that's the reason why we still haven't seen that yet. But eventually, I think those two will get remade. Just maybe not in our lifetime, probably not in my lifetime, but I believe that eventually those two movies will get remade. Just right now, they just get too much backlash right now.
I think you're right, Monty. I think eventually someone will, with an evil smile, with a twirling mustache, Money,
Because that's the first thing they want to talk about. It's like, how much money can we make at the box office if we were to remake this movie? Mark makes a good point. It's the licensing. They got to have the rights for these movies to hold on. Because I don't know who. I think Universal still has the rights for Jaws. I don't know. I don't know who has the rights for The Exorcist, but I believe Universal still has the rights for Jaws. So I'm pretty sure that hey, come on, they remake Poltergeist. I mean, you know, they're remaking Jacob's Ladder.
And
Yeah.
Candyman.
And Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh God.
So well.
Yeah, all of these were phenomenal successes. I feel it would be more likely to them to do Jaws. I don't know that one. I think they possibly will, but I think Exorcist would be more likely. They might do like Halloween 2018 did, and maybe ignore Exorcist 2 and 3, and maybe do something else. Following Reagan is like an older woman, and maybe her daughter gets possessed or something. I think that'd be more likely than them full on remaking The Exorcist.
Yeah, I agree. If they're going to do it, they might just, which would be glad for me because, oh man, I don't even know what they were doing with Exorcist 2. They actually probably would ignore 2 and 3, just make it a direct sequel from the original one, where Linda Blair is probably the same thing as Jamie Lee Curtis, an older woman, and something happens to her. Next thing you know, we got Pazuzu back again.
Yeah, she has to hunt down Pazuzu.
There's actually already a direct sequel to Exorcist that ignores 2 and 3. It's called Repossessed.
I love Repossessed. I will stand up for Repossessed.
That is a classic. You gotta
bring
love
that
that
up.
movie.
That was funny.
That's great.
He's amazing.
And it does have Linda Blair and Ned Beatty.
And yeah.
I saw Repossessed in the theater on opening day.
Oh,
God.
Speaking of The Exorcist, who actually saw the TV series The Exorcist?
Did that come out?
I heard about it, but I never saw it.
I didn't even know that was out yet.
I think I watched like the first 2 episodes and then I forgot about it. And that was like 2 years ago. I
Well,
don't even know. Like, basically, if I couldn't finish it, it was obviously either too boring or just that bad. It was either one of those. Just skip it.
Okay. I didn't even know it was out yet.
Did you see it, Mom?
Well, yeah, I actually saw both seasons. They actually stayed on for 2 seasons. And there is a twist in that show. And I don't know, did anybody in the chat see the Exorcist TV show? I know my friend from Insomniac Writer, she saw it, so she probably knows what I'm talking about. Because I don't know, because if you really don't care, I'll go ahead and spoil it. They'll let you know.
I'm gonna make you spoil it because I want to know what happens. I don't want to sit here watching this shit.
Yeah, I'm
Curious.
Well, as it turned, I think it was maybe in the 3rd or 4th episode, we come to find out that Gina Davis's character is supposed to be Reagan from the movies.
Oh my
What?
God.
Wait, what?
Lame.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sitting here making, so I give them credit for that because that came out of nowhere. I'm like, whoa, mind blown, wow. Yeah, I did not see that one coming.
Wow. Okay. I was expecting you to say something involving Exorcist 2 or Pazuzu was the main
Right?
character.
Now,
I was not
and
seeing that.
it actually was in the first season. It actually turned out that it was Pazuzu who came back. He actually came back. I actually liked the first season better than the second season. It was actually kind of pretty good show, to be honest. It's just that the second season, because they decided to put in different characters in the second season. The second season was okay. But I did love the first season. So if you actually wanted to check out the Exorcist TV show, yeah, watch the first season. It's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we'll have that moment spoiled for you. For you. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Do I have any other questions that we want to talk about? I think we covered almost everything. Do you have anything else, guys, you want to talk about as far as modern horror and old school horror?
I do have a question for everybody, both in the chat and in the group. What is your favorite old school movie and what is your favorite new school movie, and which one is the better of the two, in just everyone's opinion? If that made sense.
That makes sense to me.
Okay. Good. I'm glad one of us it makes sense to Monty.
Go ahead, Jenna. You go first.
Probably old school would have to be the original House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price. New school, it has to be a toss-up. Sis, this is probably not going to surprise you. It's a toss-up between Sleepaway Camp, the first one, and Candyman, if I have to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but good answers. Good answers.
Oh, shizzle.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Okay, my favorite old school movie, hands down, would be the original Nosferatu from 1922.
Great one. Great one. That's actually mine too.
Yeah.
And then new school, if anybody knows me, they know the answer. It's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Ooh, good one.
My man.
Christian.
For me, probably if we're talking old school, probably Freaks. I think Freaks is probably like the absolute pinnacle of classic horror.
I love
Good choice.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
For
that
newer
many people know about Freaks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right, I love Freaks.
In this house, we do.
Yeah. For newer school stuff, if we're talking like 80s and stuff, that'd probably be like Return of the Living Dead. But if for like actual like out of the current century, probably would be Martyrs. Martyrs is one of those movies that just like when I first saw that movie, it just completely destroyed me. Like I was just in a shock for like a good 40 minutes after watching it.
Yeah, I can understand that. Especially when I first saw him, I was like, "What the hell?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you?
For me, like Daryl said, I love Nosferatu, and then you took my other answer, which would be Freaks. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Night of the Living Dead. I'm wearing the shirt I get for since I don't want to steal anyone else's answer for an old school. That was one that definitely set me on my path to horror. Not the first movie, but one of them. I love Night of the Living Dead. The other for a new one, it'll be High Tension. I know a lot of people don't particularly like that movie, but one of my favorites.
High Tension is so fun.
Yeah. I know. Send the hate. It's okay.
That's okay. For me, old school would obviously have to be Dracula with Bela Lugosi. Stays true to the Bram Stoker's novel. Very good old school horror movie. I enjoy that a lot. And anytime I get a chance to watch it, I just watch it mainly because of the performance of Bela Lugosi. Modern horror would have to be a tie between The Conjuring and Insidious. Insidious. Yeah, because it's just that I love The Conjuring. I love the dramatic between Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. I think they're great as Ed and Lorraine Warren, and of course Insidious. One of the best jump scares I ever seen in horror picture was that big step demon standing behind Patrick Wilson. That's one of the best jump scares I've ever seen.
I get that.
Yeah, let's see. Some people say High Tension.
High Tension is really fun.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. People for liking that movie because they say the ending, and I'll acknowledge you gotta kind of just go okay.
I didn't mind. I didn't mind the twist in High Tension because when you look at the relationship between the two women, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
To me, it makes sense to me. I guess for some people, it just didn't connect, or they were just thinking that just maybe the writer just copped out, decided to go that route. But to me, it kind of makes sense based on the relationship of the two women.
It does. And to me, I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off.
Yeah, because like I said, I get that's why I threw it off.
I agree. What I hear most people saying is, how can she be driving the car and in the back at the same time?
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. But I think whoever made this movie read a psychology book and they thought the idea would be good. And so I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just fine with it. But
I think you have to understand, even though because I like how Alexander Andre filmed that, because you're looking at it from the perspective of the girl's mind. So in her mind, because she doesn't know it yet, so that's why you see the two aspects of it that way. So that's the reason why I think a lot of people didn't think that way. But if you look at it, we're seeing it from her perspective.
From a damaged mind, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we only have 5 more minutes left before we have to go on ahead and go over to the next channel. That's going to be Dr. Woofula. He's going to appear on the stream net. If you want to hold on for a moment, guys, I'm going to see if I can get this right. And the screen's going to go weird for a moment here.
You're watching the Creepy Channel Crawl, 28 hours of horror live streams featuring some of the creepiest channels on YouTube. Next up is Dr. Wolfula. Click on the link in the description and continue the crawl. And for the full schedule, check out the Creepy Channel Crawl page on horroraddictstv.com. You're watching the Creepy Channel.
Sorry about that.
Part of the line.
Okay, so before we go on ahead, just want to give you guys a moment to go on ahead and talk about what you got planned next on your channels.
I have no idea. Pet Cemetery remake? I don't know. I haven't done videos in like a week. I don't know what I need to do for next week.
Pet Cemetery, I want to hear your thoughts on the Pet Cemetery.
Yeah,
Oh, I'll do it for you, sis.
Yeah, I'm interested based off what you said on Facebook.
Yeah. For our, we're doing Shark Week when Shark Week happens.
Yeah, we're doing a whole week of shark movies, and one of them doesn't even have sharks in it because I messed up.
You'll see that.
We're also might be planning on something in the October season. Might have something special coming for that.
Yeah.
And but other than that, just kind of same as we always do: vlogs, your solo reviews, random top tens.
Right, crate unboxing, that sort of thing.
Pretty much.
All right, what's going on your channel, Mr. Meathook?
Oh, well, let's see. I've got Fright Crate out for delivery, so that'll probably be my next one. And then I've got a couple of kill count videos coming up. One of them is for an absolutely gloriously horrible movie called Suburban Sasquatch.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. you and Dave are crazy sound movies.
That movie is amazing.
It is gloriously bad, but it's so bad it's great.
It is amazing.
All right, well, for those who don't know, I did see Crawl yesterday. I started the Crawl off right to go see Crawl. Kelly and I went to go see Crawl. That video is up right now. I will have my prediction video for Extreme Rules. Hopefully, I should get that up while I'm going through the Crawl. Try to get that up as well. And I'll probably have my unboxing video for the upcoming horror pack that's coming out for July as well. So that's what's coming up on my channel. We'll also have a project that's coming up. Hopefully, I will get my good friend that's in the chat right now and another one of my good friends named Romero. Finally do a live stream probably by the end of this month. So that's what I have planned coming up right now.
Awesome.
Right. So get ready to go to Dr. Wolfula. I actually have his link at the bottom of the description. He's up next. So I want to thank all my guests for joining in. If you're not subscribed to any of these great content creators, their links to their channels is in the description box below. So I want to thank you guys once again. And you know my closing. So if you guys can go see it all together now, let's always remember horror rules. All right, guys. Go to Dr. Wolfula, continue to crawl, and I will see you guys later. I'm out.